So the question in this one is, why tipping is an American custom? And I got an answer that I'm pretty sure we're not going to get from the peoples that we're going to hear here. But let's give them a chance to tell you what it is before I tell you what I think. Here we go.
American custom. In the U.S., consumers tip for services ranging from baggage handlers at the airport to housekeepers at hotels, from bartenders to Uber drivers. In 2016, tip workers in the U.S. earned an estimated $36 billion in tips. Head waiters at some top-tier eateries have reportedly earned up to $150,000.
Now think, if we was all doing it correctly, how much money these people would have over and above, you know, because all your shit's taken care of. If you had been getting paid at your post station for your services there, you would have all your bills paid. And then the tips in America, the reason why that's a custom is because that's money that's above, that circulates outside of the corporate part. You see what I mean? Like, that's why it's a service-based economy, because we all have services that we still need provided, you know? So that's where we exchange the dollars at. You know, we don't give our fucking dollars into the corporation. You see what I mean? No, the corporation takes care of that. And I'm just telling you that's why it's a custom going back. The people done forgot what the fuck's going on. And so now, you know, we're just trying to figure out what's going on. But I'm thinking, this goes right hand in hand with what I'm telling you. If you was going down there and getting that $300 on every single time the corporations put something in your box, then that would explain the reason why we tip in America. Because we have services that we want provided, and for that we're not just going to expect a motherfucker just to do it. Right? So here we go. Let's see what they're going to tell us.
$1 a year, including tips. But according to some analysts, tipping has created an environment where restaurant servers are subjected to low pay and sexual harassment.
Right.
The coronavirus pandemic has only exacerbated those problems.
But see, the thing of it is anytime when there's a situation like that there where you know, you look up and the people's getting fucked. Because just like he said, those people don't make any money. They make next to nothing, you know what I mean, from their employer. And if you don't tip them, they're not going to make shit. Now, how did this situation, how did it end up like that? Because you can't believe that's the deal that people bought from the start. You know what I'm saying? No. People don't just go willingly to get fucked. That's not how it works. I mean, over time, they have a way of switching that shit on a motherfucker, and then all of a sudden we're standing here like, what the hell's going on? You have to know at that point when you're standing there like, what's going on? There had to have been something to your benefit, or to the motherfucker before you's benefit, or it would have never got that way. Somebody's just fucking fell asleep at the wheel. That's the explanation.
Gross. The comments that are made, particularly by males, being asked to remove your mask, being told that they just can't, you know, in good conscience tip accordingly because, you know, they don't know that their server is, you know, attractive enough to be deserving of like a livable wage.
About 70% of tip workers in the restaurant industry are women, and about 45% are people of color.
Before the pandemic, the consequences of the sub-minimum wage were economic instability, sexual harassment, racial injustice. With the pandemic, all of that became a matter of life and death.
With the pandemic leading millions to do essential work for low pay, in early 2021, there were renewed calls for a $15 minimum wage and the elimination of the tipped minimum wage. But many in the full-service restaurant industry opposed the measure,
well, of course,
those changes would lead to higher menu prices and fewer hours for workers.
The COVID pandemic has been devastating for the restaurant industry. There is no industry that has lost more jobs and more revenue than restaurants right now. We're the nation's second largest private sector employer. We're still 2.5 million jobs below where we started. So any discussion on things that are going to increase labor costs, make it harder for a restaurant to operate during these times, is really going to be viewed with a lot of alarm from an industry that's truly on the ropes.
Could the coronavirus pandemic herald the end of tipping in the U.S.? And what would the $15 minimum wage mean for restaurants?
Well, the people done forgot what time it is, man. So that's probably what's gonna happen. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at all of this shit, like, man.
Tipping may go back as far as the Roman era.
If we don't remember what the hell's going on really fucking quick, because I don't know what the fuck they got going when they change it. I don't know.
And it was
You could never know. What I mean, those bills when they brought them shits in, dude.
Kind of as a way to thank them, but also as a way to state, look, I'm wealthy.
In the mid-19th century, tipping
No.
was imported to the U.S. by Europeans and wealthy citizens traveling abroad, but was almost immediately
No.
rejected as un-American. Labor movements declared the practice undemocratic, and anti-tipping legislation was enacted across several states.
So what happened?
Restaurants and rail operators, like the Pullman Company, embraced tipping because it allowed them, among other things, to hire recently freed slaves without having to pay them.
The idea stuck because at emancipation, the restaurant lobby wanted the right.
Are y'all hearing the spin that they're putting on this? You just heard what I explained to you about how come we went for this shit right here. Now you hear the bullshit that they're trying to push to you, man. Come on, dude.
Slaves and not pay them anything. And
You believe this shit? Like, for real?
Tips. And so tipping remained as a replacement for wages rather than an extra or bonus as it had always been. So it's really important to understand that
Yeah,
tipping didn't
that you're gonna
originate
tell us the
slavery,
fucking truth,
but
right?
Slavery in the U.S. mutated
That's a joke.
the notion of tipping from being an
Dude,
extra or
I'm
bonus
looking
on
at the
top of
pictures
the
from
wage,
back then, dude.
becoming
No,
a
none of them
replacement for
motherfuckers look like they
wages.
working.
The restaurant
None.
is seeing other changes as well.
Look at 'em, look.
Prior to emancipation, a series of strikes
Who's
in the
working?
male workforce had servers demanding better pay. In retaliation, restaurants began hiring more women.
You see what I'm
The
saying?
entrance of women and
Fucking
black
just
people
look
into
at
the
it, man. They
industry
lie.
reduced the wage down to zero. And you saw many instances in Jim Crow after emancipation where black people were actually charged to work as shoe shiners for tips or as waiters for tips.
Do these people
So
look like they
charged for the
fucking
privilege
working?
of getting tips from white customers. And that idea
They are living, man.
1930.
You have to live. And we all have services that we had to provide. But if everybody knew that the fucking mail was the money and that shit was paying for their bills and shit, think about how you'd be living. Fuck, man. You can't buy this bullshit what they're trying to sell. Cause I mean, you just seen this bitch gonna try to tell you that people used to work for nothing. That's what she just said. You believe that shit, you're crazy.
Worker, woman, black person could be paid $0 an hour as long as
You believe that?
to the full minimum wage.
By the early 1910s, more than 10% of the U.S. workforce had a job where they were making money through tips.
Look at these
So the
people.
first federal minimum
How
wage
were they
law
fucking
passed
pressing
in
their clothes and shit to be the little
1938,
doorman?
almost 3
It with no
decades
money.
When the tip minimum wage was established. In 1991, the federal tip minimum wage was set at $2.13, where it remains as of March 2021.
Tipping is a critical part of the hospitality industry, including restaurants. And what customers have really responded well to is the option that they can give a little extra if they feel like they've gotten particularly good service. And servers have used that really effectively.
But according to a 2015 Senate resolution, many restaurant
That's
workers
true.
are also struggling. The resolution said that restaurant servers had a poverty rate that is 3 times higher than that of the general workforce.
Oh, for
Those
certain.
workers are also twice as likely to wind up on food stamps. In 2019,
Well, I mean,
the average annual wage for a restaurant
you're
server
dependent on
in the
people who
US
don't have
was
it either.
$26,800.
I have rarely seen a server making a ton of money and being rich.
Oh, I mean, you'll have some that do,
unfortunate
but
situation is
even
that
they're gonna
uncertainty-
starve some fucking
I
times
always
because
thought
they're depending on
tipping,
people that don't have it.
It's tipping is a curse and a blessing at the same time for employees.
By one estimate, there are about 6 million people in the U.S. who work for tips, including airport attendants,
All
taxi
kinds of
drivers,
motherfuckers that
valets,
you're not even aware of. You like,
servers
man,
at
you supposed to
restaurants.
tip, yeah, you supposed to tip all of them motherfuckers, and then anybody that provides the service for
Only
you.
about 82%
Because
of
that's
restaurant goers
it
leave
goes
a tip
back
for
to
their
whenever
server,
the
including
people knew that the mail was the
70%
money.
of millennials.
Straight up.
Bartenders, the survey found, receive tips
I'm not buying that
about
slavery shit.
60%
I'm
of their
telling y'all how they're doing it
customers.
right
The
here.
salary for many
They done let a motherfucker fall asleep and don't nobody know what the hell they supposed to be doing.
Sub-minimum wage.
And so we all suffering about it, and they're trying to trick us into believing that we was dumb enough to ever work for nothing. Are you kidding me? No way.
As little as $2.13 an hour by their employer.
How was we surviving
The idea
then?
that waiters and bartenders can be paid a lower wage, and tips from customers will make up the difference. Otherwise, employers are required to pay the wage.
So what the tip credit allows is for restaurants to bring in many more people than they probably could afford, knowing that they're going to pay them at least the minimum wage, and also ensuring that they have an opportunity to make far more when tips are included.
But opponents of the tip minimum wage argue the practice perpetuates the exploitation of both women and minorities.
Black women in this country who are tipped workers earn on average $5 an hour less than white male tipped workers for two reasons. They're segregated into more casual restaurants where they make less money in tips, and also because there's now insurmountable evidence that they get tipped less than white male servers, even when they're in the same restaurant, same shift, same area of the restaurant, they get tipped less because of customer bias. So all of that was an injustice, and barely bearable, I will say, prior to the pandemic.
Here we are empowering the customer, and it's their discretion to basically give whatever they want. And at that
Right,
point,
but see,
that
when the customer
discretion
don't have it,
does
man,
lead to
that's
discrimination.
that's where we're at.
Exacerbated those problems. In a recent study by One Fair Wage and the UC Berkeley Food Labor Research Center,
Basically, what they're trying to do, man, is they're trying to fucking get out of their obligation to you. All these corporations by taking the mail up out of the equation. That's what they were trying to do, man. That's the goal. That's why they all fucking got your ass paying online or paperless billing and all that shit. Man, that shit is a scam. I mean, it's obvious to see now that that's why they doing it. And if we continue down the road that we going down, it ain't gonna get it. I don't see. They ain't making no changes to fucking make it better for me and you.
Workers reported witnessing hostile behavior from customers who were asked to follow COVID-19 safety protocols. More than 40% noticed a change in the frequency of unwanted sexual comments from customers, and 83% said their tips had declined during the pandemic.
Well, I mean, you got to think. I mean, you've empowered these people to wear a mask, and then what do you think they're going to do? Of course, they're going to turn into a monster. That's what criminals do. That's why you can't wear masks like that. That's why they ban that shit. You can't do it.
12 years, I started hosting.
Because you're just empowering the criminal to be bold enough to say something. He just a minute before he acts.
I food ran. I also bartended at some high-end resorts in Florida.
Griffith said that prior to the pandemic, she was making about $600 a week. Since the pandemic, her weekly take at the restaurant can be as little as $125.
Straight up.
Releasing maskless patrons has also negatively affected her tips.
I want to protect myself and protect my roommates and my family, and it can affect tips. People can be a little aggressive about it, and then they don't leave you anything, or they write notes on the receipt sometimes about how I was wearing my mask, and that's why I'm not getting a tip. So.
The tip is a defining feature of U.S. restaurants. However, since the mid-2010s, some segments of the industry have been calling for an end to the practice.
I would never do something like that, but I mean.
Hospitality Group CEO Danny Meyer eliminated tipping at his New York City restaurants, which include Union Square Cafe and Gramercy Tavern. Only following enforced citywide shutdowns did Meyer write in July.
Am I reading into it right? Like, are they saying that the people are that sexist? Is that what they're saying here? Like it's a sexist thing, right? I mean, at least that's how they're spinning this here. Because I mean, that's how I'm hearing it, and because I could see where, I would. If this person's handling your food, how are you going to trip because they're wearing a mask? I'm just trying to figure out the logic into this, like the psychology into the situation that we have here. Because I haven't been in it. I don't go nowhere. I don't fuck around with this type of shit. I don't have any idea. This is the first time I really thought about this type of shit right here. you know. But there's some serious psychological fuckery going on here, man.
2020 open letter on LinkedIn that he would reinstate tipping. 7 states, including California, have done away entirely with the tip minimum wage and require the state's minimum wage for restaurant workers. And in January 2021, Democrats in the House and Senate reintroduced the Raise the Wage Act, calling for a $15 minimum wage and the elimination of the tip minimum wage. The provision was dropped by Senate Democrats as of March 2021, but party leaders are likely to pursue the agenda in future legislation. Full-service restaurant owners, who are mostly opposed to the $15 minimum wage, argue the pandemic has already enacted a devastating toll on the industry, wiping out 2.5 million restaurant jobs and more than 110,000 eating and drinking establishments in 2020 alone.
Having a national federal minimum wage of $15
Man, this is a joke, man. We got to stand up, y'all.
Is going to be a real shock to the system for a lot of restaurants who are just struggling to keep their doors open right now during this pandemic.
And I mean, from the shop owner to the shop worker to the fucking patron, all of you, every one of us, we've all got to go get our business straight, man. That's all there is to it. And then we can find out what the fuck from there. But I'm telling you, I think this one, I'll smash this one out the park, dude. Cause this motherfucker gonna come try to tell us, you seen it, you heard it, and that's enough for that. Till next time, take care.